Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my list, and I will spell.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are watching me from. Now, I'm going to do a quick video on the potential consequences of Liverpool Football Club not qualifying for the Champions League. Now, Liverpool have a Champions League game midweek. They have a Premier League game against Newcastle over the weekend. And as we stand, as I make this video, in the middle of the final week of January, Arne Slot is currently the Liverpool manager, and it does look like, if you listen to the journalists that are talking about this at the moment, that are writing about this at the moment, it looks like he's going to see out certainly the week and perhaps the season as Liverpool manager. So this video is going to be about what would happen if Liverpool were to finish outside the Champions League places by the end of this season. Now, number one on the list, the first and most obvious consequence is the fact that Liverpool Football Club would suffer serious financial consequences for failing to qualify for the Champions League. So number one is significant financial consequences. Now, missing out on the Champions League could result in a total revenue loss of up to £120 million for Liverpool FC over 2 seasons. Now, in terms of direct UEFA revenue, Champions League participation typically guarantees approximately £100 million in prize money and broadcast revenue. In contrast, a run to the Europa League semi-final, for example, might only generate £30 million, which represents a loss of £70 million compared to the Champions League format, which is considered the elite competition of European football. Number two is the most obvious one. I think it is one of the most obvious ones anyway. It is that the manager would probably lose his job. I don't see any way on earth that Arne Slot can fail to qualify for the Champions League with a squad that has cost in total about £800 million and that he could possibly survive that. I think You'll Never Walk Alone has its limits, and I think the limits are failure to qualify for the Champions League. So according to Jamie Carragher, the former Liverpool defender and current Sky Sports pundit, he has very recently said that the manager Arne Slot would not have a leg to stand on if the club fails to qualify after winning the Premier League title the previous season and then spending £450 million in the transfer market. Now, I absolutely agree with Jamie Carragher. I don't really see a way out for Arne Slot. I personally think even if he qualifies, he still might lose his job because of how unpopular he is, because of the style of play. But if he fails to qualify for the Champions League, the second consequence will be almost certainly that he will be fired from his job at Anfield despite the Premier League victory last season. And moving on to number three. Number three is the impact on the squad, which I will call squad consequences. Now, one of the dreams of every young player in Europe and perhaps even the players around the world is to play in the world's most spectacular football competitions. Now, as far as I am concerned, as somebody who's been watching football for over 30 years, I believe, and I don't think there's any fear of contradiction, that the Champions League is the highest football tournament in terms of the standard of football being played across the world today. I believe the standard of football in the Champions League is actually higher than the standard of football played in the World Cup. So every player dreams of playing in the Champions League. So what effect will it have on the Liverpool squad? Now, in my opinion, it will have a very detrimental effect upon certain players who are in the peak years of their careers, people like Gravenberch, people like McAllister, people like Szoboszlai. I believe people like this joined Liverpool expecting to be in the Champions League every single season. And I think the fact that the club have not qualified might lead them to perhaps delay the signing of new contracts. Now, in terms of signing players, it will also be difficult to sign elite football players from Europe and South America. The reason being that they will look at Liverpool and they will say, well, at the end of the day, I can choose whichever club I want to. I am not a Liverpool supporter, which most of them will not be. So therefore, putting ourselves into the minds of players and not thinking like fans, most foreign players want to live in London, which Liverpool don't offer. They want to earn the highest wage, which Liverpool don't offer compared to Manchester City and Chelsea, for example. And additionally, they also want to improve under the tutelage of a world-class coach, which Liverpool also cannot offer at the moment. So if one takes one's Liverpool hat off, then why on earth would a top player, if he's given a choice of Arsenal, Manchester City, perhaps Chelsea, perhaps Real Madrid, perhaps Barcelona, Bayern Munich, or Liverpool, then if I was a foreign player and I was not a Liverpool supporter, then I would want to live in London, or I would want to earn the highest wage, or I would want to play for the best manager, which Liverpool do not offer. And if Liverpool then say, well, we are not in the Champions League either, I think signing players in the summer is going to be extremely difficult, and it is going to be a very, very painful summer coming up if Liverpool do not qualify for the Champions League. Number four, in terms of the consequences of not qualifying for the Champions League, is what I call sponsorship and commercial repercussions. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that Liverpool Football Club is one of the world's most famous sporting institutions. It has many, many sponsors. It has a flight sponsor. It has a training sponsor. It has a training ground sponsor. It has a shirt sponsor. It has a training kit sponsor. It has a donut sponsor. It has a tea sponsor, and for all I know and for all I care, it might even have a toilet paper sponsor. Now, the situation we have here is that Liverpool last year won the league title. They won the Premier League, so they acquired a staggering £300 million from commercial sponsors, including the famous Adidas deal, which everybody was so excited about over the summer. Now, not having any inside information, I am just telling you this based upon my own common sense and my own knowledge of the industry. I can assure you that most of the sponsorship companies, most of the commercial deals that have been done will contain clauses. Those clauses will be based on certain things, and I suspect that not being in the Champions League will trigger a clause whereby a lot of these sponsors will be paying significantly less money to Liverpool Football Club than they were in 2025, simply because the reason they pay the sponsorship money is because the millions of eyes that are on the TV, on the Liverpool shirt all the time, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Saturday, every Sunday, whenever it is that Liverpool play. And because the Champions League is the most popular tournament in the world in terms of domestic viewership, in terms of a continental style tournament, because the eyes will no longer be on Liverpool shirts, the clauses of these contracts will kick in, and therefore the sponsors will be paying significantly less to Liverpool FC. This will then affect the wage structure. This will then affect the transfer budget, and the price is going to be an extremely heavy one for Liverpool FC. And number five is what I'm calling the negative spiral. Now, people who are optimists might say, well, you should not be worried because Liverpool is a massive club. It's over 100 years old. And if they are not in the Champions League for one season, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is this, my optimistic and deluded friend. The situation is this: Liverpool, if they finish sixth in the Premier League, they will finish in that position because they deserve to be in that position. So if they finish in the sixth position, it means they are the sixth best team in the country, whether you like it or not. So if you are the sixth best team in the country, and then everybody who is one, two, three, four, five, then buys the players that you are targeting in the summer, whether it's Schlotterbeck, whether it's Jacquet, whether it's Yildiz from Juventus, or whether it is Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. How on earth are you going to bridge the gap if those teams that finished above you signed the players that you wanted to sign? So what does that mean? It means that you are probably then going to get weaker. You are then probably going to lose one or two star players. You are then going to end up in a situation where you have 2 seasons out of the Champions League. So you've then lost £200 million. That might become 300 million over 3 seasons. And before you know it, you've had 5 years without the Champions League. You've had 10 years without the Premier League title. Now, people will say, well, you are giving us all the Armageddon scenarios. You're giving us the worst case scenarios. Well, I'm afraid that this is the way football is. Look at Manchester United in 2013. They had won the Premier League title. Their manager left, and ever since then, they have not won a single Premier League. They have not won a single Champions League, and the club is £900 million in debt. So, the negative spiral is also something that could happen. So it's not just a question of, oh, we're not in the Champions League for one season. This could have a knock-on effect that could lead to a complete and total financial disaster over the next 5 or 10 years. Now, I am going to draw this video to a conclusion. But before I do that, I'm asking you very politely to please like the video. Obviously, I would like you to like the video if you liked it. If you thought it was absolute crap, then obviously you don't have to like it. But if you did like the video, it would certainly help in the algorithms for me and the promotion of this channel. Now, if you could also subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. I've only got 14 subscribers at the moment, which is a little bit embarrassing. And and also, if you could please share the video with your friends and also your family members, including the ones you don't like, including those aunties that are constantly gossiping, constantly bitching, constantly backbiting about things which are none of their business. Okay, so please comment in the comment section. So just let me know the answers to these three questions. First of all, do you think Liverpool will qualify for the Champions League? Secondly, how long do you think Arne Slot will last? And thirdly, what do Liverpool need to do in order to strengthen the squad in the upcoming transfer window?
You conquered the bloody world.
I sold those out to the town. I'm Custila, but there's nothing down. Rest the lads ain't got it, so well.